What's happening, guys? Back with another episode of the CBM Effect. Got another special guest with me today. It is my man, James Greaves, Mr. Valknut. We've had him on once before, and today we're going to just pretty much take an approach of chatting shit more than anything. It's just completed our second prep together. Giving a little bit of background about James, because I feel like I want to do this before we dive into it. So me and James have known each other for only a few years now, but it feels like I've known him forever.
It's
That
4 years. 4 years now.
Funny, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, so I feel like I've known him forever. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. He's one of my best friends. We fucking worked together, we've coached together. This man gave me a home to live in when I didn't have one. So I owe this man a lot. So I want to get him on, tell his story, and we'll just chat back and forth. So without further ado, Mr. Greaves, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself if they don't already know you?
So my name is James Greaves. I've lived in Stirling since 2018. I'm ex-military veteran of the infantry. I've been a PT now for 3 years. Liam actually helped me complete my course, gave me some guidance where he maybe doesn't remember that.
I do.
I have been working in the Stirling area as a PT, like I said, for 3 years. Started out in Pure Gym, then transitioned across to dedicated conditioning, which is Liam's gym, and now making the transition across to Limitless Fitness.
James, in my opinion, is one of the best PTs in Stirling. So in 3 years, he's come a long way.
Thank you kindly, sir. Thank you kindly. I appreciate that. I kind of coach with the same mentality as I approach anything, where it's a case of doing it right from the get-go. And I like to build foundations with clients, whether it's foundations of exercise or good practice and like lifestyle coaching. And yeah, I'm terrible at following my own advice, but we're here and we move.
As he says, not as he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So obviously, a couple of years back, that actually started for we wanted to do a photo shoot for your business, didn't we? It was
Yeah,
just
that's
to
right.
do that. James was a glorified strength trainer more than anything.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I just did strength coaching.
Yeah,
It was a photo shoot in nutrition. I came to you for nutrition help.
yeah. And then it just grew arms and legs into a bodybuilding prep. He smashed it. He was the first person I ever put on stage.
Yeah.
And you just took to it. You just fucking took to it, man.
I won the show as well, so I did.
Yeah, he's done better than me. And then from that point, obviously, you did your own thing for a couple of years, and then the sort of mentality of this prep, where we've linked back up, has been about remembering who you are and getting yourself back in a good spot. So why don't we start with the sort of pre-prep scenario? Like, let's go from when you finished up in 2022 with the last prep until obviously the start of this year when we started a new one. What's been happening with you? Talk training, talk nutrition, talk mindset, everything in between.
Let's go. So when I finished my last prep, I kind of walked out of that feeling great. I had a little bit of a health scare immediately after it, though. Just kind of poor managing my diet post-show, kind of overloaded myself with salt a little bit, and had a bit of a scare in that regard. From there, I kind of decided I wanted to expand my knowledge a little bit. Worked with Andy Scott for a little while in terms of doing like intensifiers and different training methodologies, and kind of expand my own programming more than anything. And then from there, I don't know, I lost love for training quite a lot. I started fucking about more than anything, and I wasn't really as focused as I wanted to be on training. And then my business was doing really well at the time. We had a lot of clients on board. I was very busy, so working a lot, which kind of takes away from your own training enjoyment if you're in that environment all the time. Like moving houses and girlfriends and breakups and all that kind of good stuff. And I kind of ended 2023 with a fucking hell, man. Thank God this year's done, if you know what I mean.
I can preach to that one.
Yeah, I fly to Iraq a couple times a year doing close protection work. And it was on the return of a December deployment. So I got back January 7th. And at that point, I'd been pretty detrained. Nutrition was horrendous. And it was at the point where it's like, all right, let's just switch the fuck on here and jump straight into a prep. 7th of January, was it? 7th of January. I think I got back the 5th. I took 2 days.
6th or 7th, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think I took a couple of days or a day, and then we just dived straight into the deficit with the output load on top of that. So it was really just a case of like, I've had a shit time in terms of keeping up my own training, It's the most inconsistent I'd ever been with training.
Yeah.
In all the years of trained, like all the years I've trained, I've never had a year like that where I've been that
Yeah.
off the ball. And I like a lot of that is just personal life stuff that crops up, you know what I mean? And you try and contain it, relationships and all that kind of good stuff. And then your your focus goes elsewhere. So you try and patch holes in places. So like anybody that says that as a coach that they don't understand that stuff, we definitely do. You know what I mean? We have our own little battles in the background that we have to deal with, you know? And then I spoke to Liam. Says, "Fuck it, let's get me on stage. Let's get this reset. I fucking need to remember that I've got the ability to just do this shit when I want to." And yeah, it was like it was like a light switch, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. So
Yeah,
a couple of things I want to touch on. First of all, shout out to Andy Scott, by the way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he will never hear this, but like he's a
No,
great.
I never will.
He's helped us with both our posing.
Yeah, yeah,
And obviously, when you're seeing James going from someone to him, like the stuff he took from the training. But obviously, James said there about how it was like a tough year last year, and we fucking moped around together for a little while to the point we went into fucking Durham to just get away from the chaos for a bit.
yeah. Legit, yeah,
And like obviously we went hand in hand with our timelines and that. And I always think you've made a good point there is that like you're saying like clients, we go through the same stuff, and it's like they never need to know that because we're still going to show up. But just because
yeah,
you don't see it, it doesn't mean there's not things going on in the background. I remember one of our conversations, and you were like, "Can I still do this?" So there was
yeah,
doubt beforehand.
yeah,
Talk to me about that.
yeah. Legit. It got to the point I was like, because you know, you try these little mini resets now and again, and it's like just get a good day, get a good day, get a good day. I got to the point where I couldn't even fucking get a good day, and I started questioning myself, like, fuck me, man, am I just past this now, where I don't have the ability to just do what I used to do? Like, certainly when you spend a lot of time in the military, like I was in the military for 6 years, I joined as a boy, and it kind of instills a lot of like mentality into you, where it's no, I'll just do the thing because I have to do the thing, so I'll just do the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I got to the point last year where I was like, I don't even know if I can just still do the thing, if that makes sense. It's a really stupid way to put it, but you get what I mean in that
100%.
process. Like the ability to just switch on and be like, well, I've got to do it, so let's do it.
Yeah,
And yeah, after like failed reset and failed reset and failed reset,
see,
I
God,
got to that point. I remember having a conversation with a client, and it was a nice lassie actually. Um, and I remember speaking to her, and she was going through the same thing. And I just had like a pretty successful bounce back from things, and the approach I took was scaling everything back, like right back. So okay, I'll do like
yeah,
4 movements and train 3 days a week, and that was me. You know what I mean? And
remember
that
that.
was effective for a while. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah. It was a good wake up call. This prep more than anything.
And how did that help you? Like obviously, as you spoke about there, you're because obviously you're in your head, you're like, right, I used to be able to do this. Why can't I do it now?
Mhm.
And that can create this massive image of like self-doubt and all that. And rather than try and throw yourself to be like, right, I'm just gonna fucking do what I need to, you're like, right, let's scale it back and
Yeah.
let's build from the ground up. How was that effective for you?
Well, it just kind of it relieves a lot of pressure. You
Okay.
know what I mean? So it's like, all right, cool. So I'm supposed to be eating 5 meals a day. I'm supposed to be like training 5 times a week. I'm supposed to have these sessions on these days and have these movements. And it's like, let's just take it all away and be like, let's have a foundational workout. So push pull legs, for example. Let's just do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Fuck the food. Let's get 3 meals a day. 3 meals is a place to start. Let's have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then scaling everything back and then building off that as a platform. You know what I mean? As opposed to putting all that pressure on yourself and then getting stuck in this cycle where you're not achieving and chewing yourself out and then chewing yourself out because you're not achieving and then going back into not achieving because you're stressed because you're chewing yourself out all the time. You know what I mean?
Horrendous cycle.
Yeah, horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did you take doing that before you're like, right, we're getting somewhere?
Mate, you know what's the difference in a week? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just putting yourself and relieving that stress off yourself. It takes like a week, and you're like, right, okay, I feel better about this now. You start to enjoy the training again the second week, and then all of a sudden you're eating consistently, and your hunger levels are back, and all that kind of stuff. But then obviously life gets in the way, and it fucking throws a big curveball your way or something like that. You know what I mean? It kind of knocks me back in.
As it does, though, doesn't it? And I
Yeah,
think it's like people, I think we just speak about like people that are listening to this in their own journey. Like they think, right, okay, everything needs to be perfect to make progress. Something throws off, it's just not meant to be. And it's how you
yeah,
navigate these things, isn't it? It's like, what can I do to not let this get the better of me? How can
mhm,
I overstep this or overcome that? So yeah, obviously it was a rocky fucking road, man.
mhm,
And
mhm.
obviously you're here, you made it better than ever.
Yeah,
Um,
fuck.
so let's talk about the prep itself.
Yes, send.
Going into it, what was your expectations? What was your mindset? What was like, how are you feeling thinking about the whole thing? Well, at the beginning, as we're stepping into it, January 7th, day one. What was the thought process?
I don't know actually. I think it was just like, so I think as I can't answer for like the fairer sex, but certainly as men, I think we work very well when it comes to goal orientated things. So I think just going like, no, you're going on stage on this date. You best get fucking moving, mate. You know what I mean? Like,
You
I
don't
think,
have time to fuck up.
yeah, I don't have time to do this. Like,
Yeah.
we did a 3 month prep
Which is shorter
from,
than last time as well.
yeah, it was 11 and a half weeks, I think, before
Yeah.
we started going upwards again for the peak.
Yeah. You were
So
in a
11
better
and a half
position in the
weeks.
first one.
Say again, sorry?
You were in a better position in the first one.
Yeah.
So your back's against the wall and like we need
Yeah,
to do it here.
legit. Like
Yeah.
already on the back foot, already questioning the timeline. And it's like, well, you just got to do the thing now. And that having the goal in the background, I think, is what really works for me more than anything. Having like a goal orientated mindset. So the ability to go, no, this is happening on this day.
Yeah.
You need to be ready for this thing on that day. You know what I mean? So obviously, in this terms, it's the show.
Yeah.
Like, no, you need to stick to this diet. This needs to be day one, week one. You need to stick to it because you have that show. If you don't, you're going to look like an idiot in front of everybody, and you need to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked really well for me. Yeah, we just kind of jumped straight into it. I
Like
think the only real adherence issues we had is I like popcorn. I had this. So the context on that is I had this like little routine where I'd go to the cinema every Sunday, and you can't go to the cinema and not get popcorn, so I'd always work it into my macros. But popcorn's really high in salt, so it would spike my salt even higher than it would. I'd have this like late night meal full of carbs and salt, and then I'd do my weigh in like first thing on a Monday morning when all of a sudden my weight spikes because I've had this, and it was like a routine for weeks.
I think there was like 2 or 3 weeks in a row where I'm like, well, you fuck off with this popcorn.
Like, will you actually just stop? Like, no
Stop
more popcorn now.
it. Yeah. So obviously, I want to talk like we're kind of on the subject of like overcoming doubts and stuff here at the moment. So let's continue on that a little bit because that's something that everybody suffers from. So as we say, you started this prep with less time and in a worse position than last time. You're already doubting yourself if you can still do it. Obviously, you're having someone else take you through it. And at that point, I'm like, I can have you ready in this timeline. Give me the time, give me your adherence, I can have you ready. Did that help at all? Having someone in your corner, a support network. How important
Oh,
was
absolutely.
it?
I'd
Okay.
say that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
in terms of like the question that was asked about the mindset for prepping. We briefly touched on. I think like the biggest thing is having that support network and like knowing that the people around you have got your back for it. So like obviously I've got like yourself more than anything, and you know me very well, like very well. And I think even just knowing that, like there was a day I didn't really realize
I know
how
what you're gonna
fatigued.
say.
Yeah, didn't realize how fucked I was. And you're like, mate, you're absolutely burnt out. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, oh yeah.
I remember we were on the way to the gym and you were quite quiet, and I was like, "You're a bit bursty there, aren't you?" And you're like, "Oh no, it's just all the stuff getting me down." And I was like, "I don't know." And then we get through the session, you're like, "I'm fucked."
Yeah. I think we've got
Yeah,
like 2 movements in. I'm like, yeah, I'm melted. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm really struggling right now. Yeah.
yeah. And obviously, you had. Sorry, continue.
Well, yeah, but it just goes to show like having people around you that know you very well and can
Yeah.
actually see the signs really helps.
Because obviously, like, yes, I'm your coach and I'll give you that, and we're friends, but like, you had other people around you as well. Like, your
Yeah,
cousin came up for a
Andy,
little while, you've got your
Mark, and
flatmate
stuff.
Andy, that sort
Yeah,
of stuff. Like, how important was that having people around you to be able to help facilitate your goals?
yeah. I'd say it's massively important just having people that they understand the process as well.
Yeah,
They understand that you're not going to be in a good place like every day.
yeah.
Majority of the days, you start counting the good days as the wins as opposed to the bad days as a bad day. You know what I mean? And having
Start
people that
questioning it as
understand
well.
that.
Do you ever find that? You wake up and you're like, I'm feeling good. Did I do something wrong yesterday?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling
Fuck,
good.
did I miss my macros? Did I eat an extra meal?
No,
Yeah.
it is funny.
No,
So
I'd say it's massively important just having that
yeah,
support network around you.
I think like, and that's something that everybody should take. Like, the journey can be lonely on its own. And I've done preps before where it's like just me and you've not, I've got my coach, but you've got nobody else to sort of bounce off of. And like having that people around you can make all the difference, even if it's nothing else other than just to fucking complain at. Because
Yeah,
they'll listen to you. And that's all you need sometimes is just someone to listen to you.
yeah, legit. Somebody
Yeah.
will hear you say you're hungry
Yeah.
20 times a day.
Hi. It's like, just let me vent. That's all I need from you.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously the prep itself, what, 11 and a half, 12 weeks. And the pace was really quite quick. So walk me through the prep itself in regards to, as we're getting into things, you're being like, right, we're responding here because you responded in like a hyper responsive way this
Yeah.
time. Like but the fat dropped off of you. We regained lost muscle
Fell
tone.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. How is your confidence and stuff picking up as you're going through this and you're seeing your body shape change? And even as we're coming into the hardships, like how are you feeling seeing the return for such a little amount of work in the grand scheme of things and reminding yourself, right, I've fucking got this. This is me.
Well, I think the end of January was kind of like a turning point,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, fuck, this is working. We're going in the right direction here.
Mhm,
This is achievable.
mhm.
Um, I think I think that's when we changed our check-in place as well, the location for check-in, and got better natural lighting in it,
Yeah.
so you could actually see more. Because I was taking really shitty check-in
In
bags.
the hallway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just didn't fight. It was the hallway behind me, which actually looks really nicely naturally lit right now. But at 6 a.m., it's
Winter preps are a pain for light.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
6 a.m. That's a dark hallway, and I was taking my check-in pictures there.
Yeah.
Um, and I think when we obviously by that point I'm like almost 4 weeks into a cut,
Mhm.
and I'm no longer a fat mess, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can already see that the shape's changing. You're starting to enter that uh, like that stage where you're like lean, but you're not lean, so you're just smaller, but you're not. You know what I mean? Do you know the
I
stage I'm
call that
talking
the
about?
in-between stage. So you're depleting glycogen, you're flattening out, you still got a little bit of body fat, so you just feel small and like that.
Yeah, you just feel
You just
small.
need a
Yeah.
couple of weeks to get lean yet. Yeah.
It's the worst stage of it, man. It's horrendous. But we'd already hit that stage,
Hmm.
and that was like 4 weeks in. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck, right, okay, this is working. This is falling off me. So
Hmm.
because it's as much as it's a shit stage, it's still a marker, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like you get to that stage, you're like, okay, cool. I'm just on the cusp now of getting lean. I look like shit, but I'm about to look good. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is doable at this point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If I continue that for another 2 months on top of that, I'm gonna be shredded.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, yeah. And the progress came in thick and fast from then. I,
Yeah.
I was doing monthly pictures as like slides on my Instagram, and you see dramatic changes in 3 pictures. You know what I mean? It's night and day on each one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that in between stage. That in between stage is such a good marker, though. And to hit that a month in, I was like, "Fuck, right, okay, yeah, this is working."
I think that's important as well if you're on your journey, especially like as you get to learn your body, you can see when you start to respond and you
Mm.
can look out for little sort of metrics, so to speak, like that stage. And you're like, right, we're here now. Like me, for example, my abs come in last, so whereas your abs come in pretty quickly.
Yeah,
When
I've
my
still got
abs
abs
come in,
coming.
I'm like, right, we're fucking getting close. Yeah, you lucky bastard. I lose my abs when I look at pizza as soon as I come off stage. But
I'm sure
yeah,
that's most people. I'm just quite fortunate with that. You know what I mean?
it's genetic predisposition, isn't it, man?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So obviously we started the prep, and I actually remember that you wanted to start foot even lower. Like you were in a position like you were driven. Like I
yeah,
put you put a little bit higher, and you're like, no, we should bring it lower. So like you were good to go from the get go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember telling you I wanted to fucking suffer straight away, like, and I was complaining because I wasn't suffering enough all through January.
Yeah.
Yeah, legit, all through January, I'm like, I need to be working harder than this, man. You know what I mean?
And I think that's actually a really important point though, because let's say you did your own prep, which you could have done, you would have drove yourself into harder positions that you didn't need to.
Mhm.
Like the whole element of like not, I don't like work smarter, not harder. Work hard, but work smart alongside
Yeah,
that at the
yeah,
same time, and just having the sort of gauge lines there. What was really interesting with James's prep this time was that this time we had a bait. Like last time, I was like, right, I think we need to get to this weight, and we sort of got around about that marker. This time, I was like, right, given the state you're in, we're probably going to need to come down about there and be leaner with more muscle tissue anyway. However, we got to like maybe the halfway point and hit your lowest weight, and it just
Mhm.
started going and
Just
up.
start climbing. Yeah, just
Yeah,
start climbing up, and
yeah,
we were getting leaner and leaner.
yeah. It
I
was
think that comes from being at that heavily detrained state that we were
yeah.
at, though.
just that muscle loss. Well, maybe not muscle loss, but like muscle memory, regaining the stuff and
Yeah.
like using glycogen mode and all that. Glycogen mode, you're restoring like glycogen and stuff.
Hmm.
But obviously, how was that as a head fuck for you?
Oh, massively. Yeah, fuck yeah. Like I stepped on stage 3 kilo lighter than I started.
Which is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, 3 kilo
You're
lighter. I'm now at the starting weight of prep, right? As of
yeah.
this morning. Yeah.
And your lowest was 7 kilograms less than what you stepped on stage, wasn't it? Because you
Yeah.
hit 4.6, I believe it was.
84.6. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
84.6.
And then
Yeah.
I stepped on stage at 91 point, what was it, 91.2, 3,
I want to say
something?
it was 4. I want to
Yeah,
say
probably somewhere in
4.
that range. Yeah.
I remember that this because we checked it was net 1.4, 100%.
Yeah, crazy.
Um,
Which was an all-time goal, like a
yeah,
lifetime goal.
I
Yeah.
remember you being buzzing in the hotel that morning.
Yeah, I was absolutely like, yeah, because I said this story on my Instagram. I put this on my story on my Instagram. That's a hard sentence to say. About like I remember meeting a guy in DW Fitness when I first started training.
Mhm.
I forget for the life of me, I can't remember his name. And he was like the same height as me and strong as a motherfucker, jacked and lean. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck me, man. I'm gonna look like this cunt.
Yeah, yeah,
And I asked what weight he was, and he was 91 kilo, and he was like 200 pounds. I'm like, fuck, I want to look like that. I want to be that weight. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I got that weight off season, like as
mhm,
fluffy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And to step on stage at that weight,
I think it's because I'm obviously, I'm a believer in the scale weight and using it as
yeah,
metrics. And it's like, I had 100 kilograms by today, by the way. Did you see it?
yeah, you did. I saw it in your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, by the way, man.
I
That's super.
remember thinking like maybe even like a year and a half ago when Von first broached it, I was like, I could never be on it. I could never see myself being that. Or like if you told me 5 years ago that I would look the way I do, and it's like so much like gratitude. That's not the right word. It's delayed gratification. Sorry, like putting the work in for so long, and you might not necessarily see it, but then you get to it, and it's like fuck, everything was worth it. Like you get to stage show day, and you're like, right, all that hard days was fucking worth it. I don't
Yeah,
even remember how it feels at this point because it's just fucking worth it for being
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
All,
Um,
all the bad days are they're just a blur. It doesn't.
yeah.
It's just part of it.
And it's like we say, it's like I say to people sometimes, I was like, when you're 3 weeks away and you're feeling horrendous, like in 3 weeks' time, you won't care how bad you felt. You'll just be
Yeah.
glad that you did it and looked the part. How hard was it to get over that like last 3, 4 weeks when you were really starting to struggle? Like what kept you
I
moving forward?
really started to nosedive at like 3 weeks out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when I hit the oh fuck stage.
And it's like, right, the suffering I wanted is here now. I know.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you saying that to me. It was like, well, you wanted to suffer. Here you are. I'm like,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard though because when you're in the beginning, you're fresh and you're motivated. You just want to be there, and
Yeah, you
then
forget
nothing
there.
prepares you for it. No matter, even though you've done it before, you know what to expect. Like when you're in it, it's just so hard. You just need to sort of keep moving forward, and it's like it gets technically easier to handle with time, but it does not get easier.
No,
No.
I yeah, I got to the point where I had to cancel like clients and things like that because I just didn't have the fucking energy to be there, which was bad. Well, a lot of my clients are quite understanding, so I was lucky because I built a good community with those guys. You know what I mean?
You're
And
quite
they
fortunate.
were going through that journey with me.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I was melted by 3 weeks out, and I remember cutting my steps down because I couldn't bring myself to peel myself off the sofa
Mhm.
at night, but I would stay and do an extra 10 minutes of cardio on the stairmaster. You know what I mean?
I remember you text me and you were like, "I can't do the steps. I'd rather do extra cardio," and I was like, "For the life of me, I cannot understand where you're coming from right now." But if that's what you need, that's what you need.
That's just what I need. Yeah,
Yeah,
just give me that, mate.
yeah, and it worked obviously because it
Yeah, I
helped.
did. Yeah,
So I suppose we could go into that next. Like, let's talk about being coached by your best friend. Like,
yeah.
obviously, that could be easy to overlap that, and there could be like a lack of maybe not respect, but it could be harder to listen to someone who you're so close to at times.
Ah, mate, I
How do you
think
find
it's
that?
easier almost, huh?
Okay,
I
yeah, I
think
want
it's
to hear about
easier because there's that mutual respect between us.
that. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people from an outside perspective could see this as a coach and client relationship, but it's very much not.
No,
I
it's
see us
friendship.
as very much as a partnership. You know what I mean? Um, like I feel like we did this prep together. You know what I mean? And as much as you're taking the helm, you're telling me where I need to be. Like you'll take on board my input with everything, and somebody else might not. And
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like understanding how shit's going to affect me, you're going to know it next to nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I think it's better. I think there's a lot more benefit to it,
mhm.
and I don't think I'd be prepped by anybody else at this point.
Yeah, because obviously, like I say, it helps that I know you so well and I know what you're
Yeah,
like,
it's a
how you're
massive
wired.
part of it, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like we're very close regardless. So like
Mhm.
we train together anyway.
Like
You know what I
literally,
mean? Like,
for those that are watching this, we're recording this, but we're about 100 feet away
yeah,
from
like I could, if I was good at throwing stones, I could hit them
he's
like
across
right
the room.
now.
So like we're obviously in constant communication. We train together, and obviously we speak about this. And me and James we've went periods of time where like we'll not see each other all the time, but then we're fucking all the time together. So like that
Yeah,
prep, we were seeing each other pretty much every day,
yeah,
speaking
every day.
all the
Yeah.
time. How important was the communication in regards to the prep? Like having just speaking every day, the daily check-ins, like just being able to bounce off of me. Like how important was that for you?
I mean, it goes without saying, realistically, like having that, whether it's a reassuring fucking sentence or whether it's a guiding hand or whether it's just somebody to vent at, it's
Yeah,
important. You know what I mean? And being able to do that with your coach, and being able to have him listen, take on board what you're saying, and action what you need as an individual. Yeah, that's second to none, isn't it? Realistically,
it's,
yeah, you can ask for more in a coach.
like we spoke about adaptability there, and it's like I know how your brain works, and if you're asking me like, right, can I swap this? So I've made a little changes, like having a little bit more freedom. Like we had the meal plan, but
Yeah,
you have the freedom to make swaps within. Which last time we, not that you didn't, but we were a little bit more just
yeah,
locked in. How
yeah.
was that knowing that you could make those changes like this time and
Well,
like
a big part of that came to your programming updates. I really fucking like your programming updates.
okay,
Um, like they're phenomenal, and being able to, obviously you'd send across an updated meal plan. It's like, right, okay, cool. What will I actually eat? And I can go, right, well, I know I eat a great deal of yogurt. You know what I mean? Like, I really like my yogurt. I like my Weetabix, and being able to just, you've got drop down. A lot of people here wouldn't have seen Liam's programming, or they might have seen Liam's programming. You've got like drop down menus with the meat with food selections, and then you can adjust the amounts, and then it shows you macros for the meals, or the food item. Being able to just change that on the fly and be like, Liam, I've updated the program. This is the meals I'd actually eat for those macros. Is that okay? Anything you're not happy with there? So on and so forth.
mm-hmm.
That was like, yeah, no, you couldn't ask for a better resource than that.
Yeah, because we were Excel last time, weren't we? So it was like we had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
manually put it in, sort of stuff.
It's what I
Uh,
do at the moment still, to be fair. I
yeah,
spoke to
but
you
there's
like,
nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
no, but I really like the food database thing. It
Uh,
works really well.
Yeah, man. I might have a spare copy of like just a random like Excel spreadsheet I could maybe send across to you. Remind me at the end of this.
Yeah, I'd take that, man.
Yeah, man. So right, where were we? Obviously, communication, adaptability. Fuck, I've lost my train of thought. Uh, right, we're speaking about the prep and stuff. Obviously, the hard days, the communication, the adaptability. So, like, obviously, on prep, sometimes there is an argument, and a lot of the time, I am a believer in that you eat the same foods all the time because you know how it digests, you know how you respond to it, you know there's going to be limiting fluctuations in that, and obviously, you just picked your same sources. Like, even though like we'd be like, right, we can change this source, food source. It was always similar ones.
Yeah.
How important was that for you from a digestion standpoint? Like, did you find
Oh,
that?
massively, yeah.
Uh,
Anytime I fluctuated from that, I felt it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So the fluctuations were minimum because you pay for them. Like, it's not worth it. You just end up feeling like crap the next day. I'd rather stick to the same sources that I enjoy.
Mhm.
So like, with like, again, it goes back to the adaptability of your programming, where I could add like fruit into my, like I was making cheesecakes quite a lot. So like Weetabix and Weetabix with yogurt and protein powder.
Berries.
Fruit. So yeah,
Berries.
fruit, yeah, and
Yeah.
like just being able to put that in the program and then know that I can have this like lovely meal that is going to digest really well. It's just built slightly different, whether it's oats or whether it's Weetabix or whether it's, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
something that comes from a source that I'm very well understood with. You know what I mean?
What about so obviously you're somebody that we've just like we knew it anyway, but it sort of really highlighted that like you're quite a food happy guy.
Yeah,
So obviously adherence is everything. Because if you can't adhere to something, like how important was like having foods in there that made you happy to continue to
yeah, massively important. I was
yeah.
speaking to a guy about this in the gym the other day, and like he eats very miserable foods when he's trying to prep or whether he's bulking. Like he just eats miserable food all the time. Like I couldn't do that, man. Like that's just misery. Like I said, the cheesecake thing, man. Fuck, I lived on cheesecakes that whole prep. I fucking love a cheesecake.
You see, I don't know about you, but like each prep I've done, I've had like a different sort of like that's my food for that prep.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like crumpets, Biscoff, and banana the last one. I had that to the very end, and I just couldn't do that with Biscoff, man. So
Last one, it was towards the end anyway.
mm,
I was using beef quite a lot, so I was having smash
yes.
burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got really into making burgers, and this one it was cheesecakes.
Yeah.
And it was all like, for the record, anybody that's listening, it was like very lean beef, and like it was all made very, like macro friendly, and I
Yeah.
just make them with
Like,
a lot
we're
of
talking
smash.
about this very casually, but we were on the ball with any changes. Like this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm going to have a bit of this, have a bit of that. Like, yeah, it was all done properly just to allow you to be able to continue to eat the way that you enjoy, which
yeah,
obviously led to the ultimate success because it meant that you stuck to it.
exactly.
So I want to
Like
circle
a
back.
lot of people just
Go ahead.
aren't food centric, though. Sorry, mate. A lot of people just aren't food centric. Like, it wouldn't bother them, but it's something that like bothers me. I like
Mate,
it.
I'm the same, and it's why I think that's why I can help relate to you so much because
Yeah,
I'm the same. Like if someone can be a robot for fucking 12, 16, 20 weeks, then by all means do it. But like for me, food's a point of happiness in the day. Like
yeah,
you look forward to your meals. Why not make sure that you like something? So I think again that adaptability because people can like if I speak about Louise, for example, she's prepping on calories and macros, so she just makes her own choices.
yeah.
But she tends to stick to the foods that she enjoys. And I think that's definitely an important point. I want to circle back to something earlier because I'm sure a lot of people would have thought, what the fuck, as I did. Steps and cardio. Let's talk more about this.
Yes.
Yeah, what was going through your mind? Obviously, so basically, for a point of reference, James was doing, was it 50 minutes of stairs every day and 10,000 steps is what we wanted? Was that before the change?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
10K steps you wanted and 50 minutes of cardio.
So to a lot of people, like 10,000 steps, it is a lot, but in the same side of things, it's not.
It's not.
So, and when you're doing 50 minutes of the Stairmaster, 10,000 steps isn't really that bad. But James was like to me, I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do steps. I'd rather spend 10 minutes extra on cardio. And I know there must be a lot of people out there that's like, you're a madman.
The difference for me is like I
Apart from
can
that.
I can get myself on the stairmaster.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I can finish my workout, I can do my posing, and I can jump on a stairmaster,
yeah,
and I'll stay there for as long as you need me to.
yeah.
But see, after I've gone and I get home,
Hmm.
I don't want to move again. The later stages of prep, you're just fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
Your
we,
body's
we had a
literally out of
conversation.
energy.
Yeah. We had a conversation ages ago, but like, it gets to the point where you'd rather piss yourself than go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, I just cannot be asked getting up.
Yeah,
So I couldn't bring myself just to peel myself out of probably this chair, to be honest,
yeah.
to go and actually get the extra like 1,000 steps or whatever it was. Just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I'd rather spend the extra 10 minutes on the stairmaster hurting my feelings.
Out of interest, like, let's say, and this would never happen because obviously we've got that back and forth. Let's say I said to you, no, we can't do that, and you're doing your steps. Do you think you'd have been able to stick through it, or do you think that was like
Like, I just wouldn't have done
pivotal
the
to?
stairmaster and not told you.
If anybody wants a new client, you can have them.
just like just like those 2 squares of dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah, James is a. You need to give James an inch sometimes with these. It's a controlled inch. He told me at the end, off the meal plan. Yeah, I've been having 2 squares of dark chocolate all along, and I'm like, it's fine. But I think another point that's like prep's one of those things that you need to be really, really, really on the fucking ball. But it's not like the second something goes off, you can't make it because you obviously fucking made it to stage and you look great. Let's talk about the actual package in the end itself.
Yeah.
Talk to me about obviously your expectations from the beginning to what the final package was. Were you happy with it? Talk to me about the sort of show day itself.
So show day, obviously we had big delays on show day, and I had 2 clients also competing that day.
Mm-hmm.
So my priorities were the 2 guys competing because I was competing much later in the day. So kind of I was pretty not really thinking about my own stage time for like half the day.
I think I was far more stressed than you were.
Yeah, you're way more stressed.
Yeah.
I've got a funny story about that I've not told you.
Okay.
I think expectations for me going on stage that day were like I was hoping I was going to get second more than anything. I haven't looked at the competition and thinking, yeah, I think I've got a good shot at getting second against Chris. And then we kind of had a debrief off stage. So for the record, I was in a class I wasn't supposed to be in. I was supposed to do novice class, but obviously Grant didn't have a novice class. And some of those guys on stage had competed like 20 plus times. This is my 3rd stage appearance, including PCA from last season. And I took 4th, which I was really fucking happy with at the end. But I walked in expecting to get or hoping to get second more than anything. So I think we had a debrief post show. I was super chilled all the way up to stage. Like I was actually super chilled. There's a great picture of me like what you'd say, like lying on the floor, just absolutely chilling, listening to shite on my fucking on my phone.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're flapping like fuck about the peak. But yeah, no, I was super relaxed. I was pretty pissed when I got called 4th.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to you backstage, and you're like, "Well, this is why," and I'm like, "All right, super chill." And then you were stressed as fuck, thinking that you fucked the peak.
Yeah.
You were stressed as a motherfucker. I'm like, mate, we did everything we could. Stop
So,
stressing.
so for anyone that doesn't know, like a peak isn't just to peak for a day, but it's to peak for a certain time. And you can probably agree, I'm quite anal as to how I want things to go on that day. Like this time, we want this and that. And obviously, the show got delayed by like 2.5 hours. And in the morning, we set up a game plan. Right, I want these meals at this time. So I want this taken at this time. And this is going to allow you to look your best at the time that you're on. So as the show went later and later, I was getting more and more stressed. It was horrendous. And I was really fucking genuinely worried at the end of the show. I was like, have I cost them this? Like, did I do something wrong? I think that any coach cares and they want the best from them. I'm
Of
sure
course.
like you ask the same things and it's aye. But obviously then you look at it pragmatically, you take a step back and it's like, no, we did really fucking good.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, just an annoying one, and I've definitely shaved at least a couple of years off my life with the stress of that one. On its own.
I remember speaking to everybody after the show, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we thought you'd be trashing the backstage. You look so pissed off." I'm like, "I was trying to calm Liam down."
I was fucking mad.
Yeah.
I mean, these things happen in bodybuilding competition. It's nothing. It's no one's fault. But I'm like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, it was just the way the cookie crumbled
Yeah,
that day, sadly.
it's like we had to just say it's like everybody's in the same boat. It would have made no
Yeah.
difference to the final placing. So
To be fair, I walked on stage having delivered the best package I've ever delivered,
yeah,
feeling the best I've ever looked,
yeah,
and yeah, more than happy to walk away from that knowing that I looked the best I could have looked at that time and that
yeah,
show on that day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Like I remember, I posted afterwards. I was like, right, this is what we wanted from this year. This is what we got. Fucking Valknut 2.0, signed, sealed, and delivered. You
Yes,
fucking
sir.
set out exactly what you wanted to do. So
Fun fact:
go for it.
I was 10 kilo heavier on stage this year.
Mad,
10 kilo heavier.
mad.
That's a lot of weight. It was 81 on stage the first time.
Yeah, and it's like fucking not bad for like fanning about for a couple of years.
Yeah, fanning about for 2 years and still stepping on stage 10 kilo heavier.
And we say that contextually because James still
Yeah,
put work in, but like not lack of structure is probably the better way to put
yeah.
that.
Like I still train heavy. I still train hard.
Yeah, you got strong.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
For anybody listening, I am forever chasing this man in the gym. It does my head in. It does my head in.
Age before beauty, mate. Age before beauty.
Right. So I'm going to move on from the prep situation in a second, but I want to obviously ask one more thing. Obviously, CBM Effect, I need to plug myself a little bit here.
Of course.
I coached you from prep 1 into prep 2. What was different this time? What did you enjoy about it? Was there anything that you would have changed? Like, how was it coaching with me again for the second time?
So we touched on this on the little informal chat we had that went on your Instagram. I noticed night and day difference with your coaching moving from prep 1 to prep 2. Obviously, there's a 2-year gap there. So your knowledge base has expanded massively. Your coaching approach has expanded massively. In terms of your coaching approach, I'd say things like your programming in general massively improved. But your knowledge base leading off my first point into the second point, where your ability to adapt to things on the fly, ability to adapt meal plans, understanding your client, that's probably a lot of a personal thing between you and I, but understanding your client was a big one. No, mate, honestly, I don't think I would get prepped by anybody else at this point. I think I'd be foolish to, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's like you make a good point because like I now know your body really well.
Yeah.
And it's like people coach hop sometimes. And it's like just spend time allowing someone to know your body.
Yeah.
Like so straight away, like we can take home like the legs. We need to make work on the legs fullness for next time. We know how you
It's
respond.
annoying because I do think we missed the leg fullness for stage day.
There was a couple of things we could have done differently in the run-up that we've discussed off this podcast. But
yeah. Like it was a balancing point though, and like see my legs post show and how they filled back out. It's like motherfucker, but shit happens. Like.
So what James means by a balancing act is that sometimes you need to look at what's going well and what could be better, and do you want to sacrifice what could be better for what's already going well? So like if we filled his legs up too much, he wouldn't have held the same tightness up top. The sort of glutes would have been a bit more soggy. The lower back might not have been there. So sometimes it's a balancing act, but there's definitely things that we could take away from this prep that we could apply to the next time. Yeah, I think that's like that's what's important, isn't it? Like we've learned. So yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So
I think that's a big reason you're supposed to do it in classes, though.
Yeah,
that's why you're probably supposed to do like first timers, novice, men's medium, because like you've got to spend the time and learn how your body responds for each show and each peak. You know what I mean?
like you're saying there, like just about how my knowledge is improving, that like you'll be the same. So like I prep, I've done 4 or 5 preps now, and every time like I learn a bit more, and you can take it into the next with your own sort of stuff. How much have you taken away from this prep that you can apply?
Oh, massively, yeah. In terms of everything that I've spoke about, you've expanded upon. It's helped me expand upon too.
Yeah,
It's a big part of what I think my coaching benefits from is these preps. To be honest,
100%.
um,
Doing it
because
yourself, knowing what it feels like,
yeah,
knowing what to do. Yeah.
like I said, I prepped 2 guys for that show. There, they both had really good showings as well. Um, and I never would have been able to do that without the first one. But also, I was doing it alongside my own prep, so I was using you as a tool to help them.
Yeah. Which as you're right to do so for sure. Like
Yeah.
utilize your background.
I used you as a friend. Like I'd get you over for input as well. You know what I mean? Like very overtly. Like I'd like you to have a look at this client, see what you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got no shame in saying that. The clients do that too.
Mate, there's things. If I've ever struggled, I've asked Vaughn questions in the past. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
who you're working with. So like, yeah, so we do check-ins, and obviously, yeah, it's just sometimes it's just nice to be like, right, this is what I'm doing, and it's like, right, yeah, cool, I would do the same thing, or just a second opinion more than anything.
Yeah, it's that echo chamber where it's like, okay, yeah, if the echo is there, it's in the right spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps massively more than anything, and the bounce back on the business aspect of things helps as well.
Yeah.
You just feel very zeroed after a prep as well, I think, which is good. In terms of like post show, you feel like you've got a lot more focus and your ability to like expand on your own um, your own toolkits there, if that makes sense. Like last prep, the months past it were some of the best business months we've ever had. You know what I mean? And I'm expecting the same this time, moving into 2024 or moving through 2024 now, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we're already coming into the 5th month, aren't we?
Like you're literally, you do these preps and then you showcase yourself as an authority figure. I've done it. I can do it. I've walked that walk. I think that is important. I'm a big believer in that a coach should go through their own journey and showcase what they can do, where they've come from. And I'm sure that'll pay back dividends for sure. Let's talk about post show next. Obviously, first of all, let's talk about 2 different things: how you've handled this post show, how it's better than last time, and what future plans are.
Okay, so post show. One thing I didn't do was I didn't go fucking nuts. I've had a much healthier approach post show this year. Like my post show meal was like homemade burgers and homemade chips. You know,
Which is impressive for anybody that's listening. That is impressive.
Yeah, it was also really tasty. Really enjoyed it actually, because there was no focus on macros with it. I had some cheese with it and fucked loads of sauce on it. You know what I mean? Like it was delicious.
And I think as well, like straight away, like nothing. If you've not done an extreme cut, nothing prepares you for how hard it is after the show. Everybody talks about getting up to it. Yeah, it's hard. It's fucking incredibly hard afterwards. And I think probably just having went through it the first time, you're more mentally prepared for what's to come and how to go about it.
Well, I fucked myself up last time pretty hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and obviously you'll have that as well because you've been stressing out a little bit after it. Well, maybe not now, but a couple of weeks ago, like I'm feeling my ankles and stuff. So
yeah, I was worried. Awareness, like that paranoia seeping in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I was getting a little bit of I think lower leg inflammation, but nothing in comparison to what I went through last time. It's been a lot better managed. I've not kind of hit the off the rails at all this time. I think I'm probably under-eating last week. We spoke about this in our check-in. I underate last week, mainly because I've just been a bit flat out with the transitioning. It's been a lot of like static time in the gym, active recruitment and things like that. So I've probably under-eaten last week. But the weeks before that were pretty constructive in terms of nutrition anyway.
Yeah.
In terms of cardio.
You've ignored me twice, by the way, today. Are you ready for more food today?
Oh, shit. We'll discuss that after. Okay. I've got my thoughts on that. Yeah.
That's me after. Cardio.
Cardio.
A big cheeky message from him today.
It was very formal, I thought.
It was very, very formal. Yeah.
Because I've just not been doing cardio post show, sadly. But we've not really suffered for it because the food hasn't gone haywire.
The fact that you're not eating like a dick probably does help.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in cardio post show, but it's not done you any real harm at the moment.
I will say, I'd be an advocate for it too. I've just been pretty flat out since post show in terms of business side of things. Which is my excuse, but really it's not quite a good enough excuse, let's be honest.
You said it, we're all thinking it.
yeah, everybody's thinking it. But in terms of nutrition, I've not been off the rails, which is good. And
That's
I think
impressive.
with the lack of cardio,
Yeah.
that's been a balancing act to myself.
Mhm.
It's not been too bad. I've been enjoying food, but we've not been off the rails. I've been trying to stick to constructive meals, pretty similar sources, with off-plan meals, more off-plan meals than I should have. We spoke about that, sticking to one a week now. I've probably been having 2, maybe 3, which isn't insane, but it's also not
You
great.
want to rein it back. Like the first week or two, it's like right, getting it over that. You've dieted for fucking X amount of weeks, like it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
enjoy some food, but then it's about being able to rein it back in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think now we're in a good spot and training's moving really well as well.
really
It makes it a lot easier to constructively eat again, because I'm not like thinking about inflammation and things like
Yeah,
that. And when you're seeing the weights move in the right direction, like this is the strongest I've ever been now. Like I'm ridiculously strong. Um, Seeing that move in the right direction kind of makes you want to constructively eat as well. Yeah,
yeah,
which is helpful. The
yeah.
fullness is there, the vascularity is there, the separation's still there. We're in a very good spot. Although, like, I don't look it on this video because the lighting's just washing me out completely. But
No, you look good. You look good.
but the shape is still very much there condition wise. So it keeps you motivated.
And like to people listening, it would be very easy for him to not have that right now. Like you can undo weeks of work in a couple of weeks if you're not careful.
Yeah,
So
easily.
he's handled it like a tripper this time. And like you say, like that post show period, that sort of 3 to 6 week period where like fullness is still there, you're lean, it's nice. And when you're training in like a tank top like you do, you want to hold on to that for as long as you can. There's
Yeah,
more intrinsic motivation to hold on to that. So I think with you being someone like that, that helps.
yeah,
Like you like to fucking wear that, you like to look good,
yeah,
which is totally fair. I don't say that. I
yeah.
say that in a very good way. So I keep doing that essentially. Keep wearing the tank top unless I'm there, and then get a bag of t-shirt on.
That's funny.
Right. So obviously, me and James, obviously, we've done this for a while now. We've trained together. We've somewhat dieted together, but we've never been at the exact same spot at the exact same time. And that's what the rest of this year is going to be about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to fucking lift new weights together. We're going to fucking get big as we can together. And then I'll go to plan. We're going to prep together next year.
Yes, sir.
Talk me through what you're expecting for the rest of this year, both in regards to progressions in gym, progressions within the physique, and next year itself.
Well, we've got 70-kilo dumbbells to hit tomorrow.
Yes.
Um,
I want to lead on that, by the way.
you want to lead on it?
I want to say I've done it first.
I
but
hit them before James.
I already know that you'll beat me. I've accepted it. But no one can take away from the fact that I did it before you. By the time this podcast comes out, we'll have done it. So go check our Instagram.
I'm going to go Falkirk right now. Fuck you.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kilograms up there. Go.
yeah, we've got some big weights to hit this year.
6-plate hack squat.
6-plate hack squat, that's coming. I reckon we could just knock that out this week as well. To be fair,
Mate, I think we actually could. Like, fucking just make that happen.
Yeah.
James is going to reteach me how to deadlift, hopefully. Because
yeah, I'm looking forward to that actually.
James is like he comes from a strength training background, and he's a very good teacher of deadlifts, squats, all that sort of big movements. I've been having a lot of trouble for a long time, and I'm gonna just ask James, can you help me? So hopefully, you're in a good position.
I think that's probably where my coaching actually started. As a compound teaching specialist, so your squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really looking forward to helping you get back into deadlifts. I think that'll be class. I'm wanting
a long way to catch up to get with you, but
yeah. I'm hoping I'll hit 300 this year as well.
I'd love for us to squat together, man. But
yeah, I think I think you'd smoke me on squats, but I'm down for that. What's your squat situation right now?
An eagle's got me. Like I've not done it in a while, but I've not had knee pain for a while. But after I get above like 100, 120, it just doesn't like it. But we could try it. We could absolutely try.
I'll be building my squat back up from pretty low now.
Mate, my lower back goes to shit. It'd probably be my lower back that went more than anything.
I wonder if I could fix that too.
Yeah, I got a massage a few weeks ago, but it's fucking. I think it's mainly body weight and maybe like a weakness or a tightness somewhere, and my lack of willingness to go and do anything about it. But if we can do something, I'm all for it. Because squat and deadlift are favorite exercises, so yeah, we can.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. That would be good fun. The deadlift side of things, I'm excited to do. Hopefully, we'll get that done next couple of weeks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I said, big weights this year, and then hopefully we'll start transitioning to a prep around November, December.
Where do you see body weight going up to this year?
Oh, I'm hoping I'll hit 100.
We've not discussed this in depth, but yeah, you'll hit 100. You'll easily hit 100.
I'm 94.1 as of this morning, but that's after a bad week of eating, just being flat out last week. So,
well, see, to me, if you think about it, you're 4 weeks post show.
4 weeks post show.
Is it 4 weeks already? No, it must be 3 weeks.
Is
3
it?
weeks. Aye,
Calendar.
yeah. Must be 3 weeks yesterday, so you must be going into week 4.
Well, let's have a look. So
Because 4 weeks
1
will be
week,
March.
2
That was
week,
April.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So you're 3 weeks post show, your body's still recovering, food's still low. You've got a solid runway of probably at least 5 or 6 months. Mate, I reckon you could probably get closer to like the 105 marker.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be too messy at 105 though.
No,
That'd be fine.
no. We'd want to keep that in check because then obviously what we'll do for you is we'll just run you straight to prep with a longer timeline with a bit more to take off. So you want to finish in a good position.
Yeah.
And then obviously I myself, if you know my shit, I did mention physique previously. I'm going up to Classic. I've taken the last year off. James is going to do it alongside me. How do you feel about that?
I'm going into Classic for one and only one reason. I'm not there to compete. I'm literally doing it just to stand next to you on stage. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm too blocky for Classic, let's be honest. I've got a really blocky waist.
Yeah. Well, it's something we tried to do a couple of years ago. We tried to do it this year. It just didn't work out for me. But we were joking that like when the pole's down, when everybody comes to the front, we'll just go off into the corner.
Yeah, just fuck off. Yeah. We'll just go away. Everybody else can fuck off. Don't care.
All about the memories, man. And I fuck with that.
Literally just for the memories, mate. I want pictures of us standing next to each other on stage. That'd be class.
Man. Like, there's every chance. Like, I know you said this was probably going to be your last one until you heard that I was doing it next year, and like, there's every chance that this next one will be my last one. Like, I can't see myself doing another one after next year. So that'll be good, man. So obviously we've went through quite a lot. There was a couple of questions I just want to quickly bring up. I screenshot them earlier. We've kind of touched on these already, but just if you want to add anything more to it. So we've got Ryan asking about time served in the military and your transition into civil life.
So I was in the infantry for 6 years. I was in the Black Watch Royal Regiment of Scotland. Traveled around the world. Spent time in Africa,
so worldwide.
Afghanistan, and France. Times, I wish I say this all the time. I don't regret my time in the military. Would never go back.
Yeah.
Although my nephew wants to join reserves, and I told him if he joins reserves, I'll join with him. That's just more of a like weekend warrior thing, but I'll go down the PTI route with that.
Those reserves, yeah.
It's very much
just a chapter of your life that's done, isn't it?
Yeah,
no regret.
It's kind of at your own behest. The reserves as well, so your engagement level is what you want it to be. If my nephew wants to go into it, I'll be there. So he's got somebody there. I don't regret it. Wouldn't go back, but the transition to civilian life sucks. Like, it really sucks. I didn't find my feet in civilian life until 2021 when I started PTing. I left in 2018. I worked security throughout that. So I worked the doors. A lot of people know me from the doors, or used to know me anyway.
From me and James first met.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He'd come in at drunk last night.
Yeah, throw you out. I actually didn't because I knew you from the gym. I just watched you stumble out.
Miss those days.
Yeah, legit. But I worked security for years when I left the military. Just working doors. I went quite quickly up through the ranks in the doors, if you know what I mean. I went doorman, head doorman, area manager, and then I hated the area manager role because I had it was 36 venues, like 120 members of staff. I fucking hated it. And my area was like Edinburgh, but it was actually Berwick to Inverness. Yeah, it was shit. I fucking hated that. My boss was a wanker. Julie Gibson, if you're listening, you're an arsehole. The transition from that, never hear it. But I did a couple other things. Like, I worked for Harry Fairbairn as a sales executive for BMW. I went to sales school with them. Did community relations manager for Gravity Trampoline Park. Went from that as a fitness kind of side of things. But I never really found a job I enjoyed that whole time. I fucking hated it. The doors was kind of making ends meet kind of position, and I did that for years until I found my feet PTing. So I was still doing that in 2021 until finally I had enough clients where it's like, I can eat, so fuck this. it's probably nothing really prepares you for it. I joined as a boy, so I joined at 17 and a half, which is the minimum age for a adult entry. Before that, I was living in a bed and breakfast in Inverness from 16. So it was a pretty stark transition. I also went to uni in that time frame from leaving the military. I did computer science. Um, didn't enjoy that environment either. Like I did a lot of things, and I think it takes a long time post military to find something that you actually enjoy. But the whole time, the gym was a constant, and it was something that I had passionate about, and it's something I enjoyed, and it's something I enjoyed teaching people in, even though it was from a rudimentary standpoint where I had no real qualifications to show that I could teach people that, but I knew what the fuck I was talking about. Um, or I thought I did anyway, because Dunning-Kruger effect, like I now realize I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know more than I did and more than most, realistically.
For real, yeah.
Yeah.
Something else more to know. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
You know what I mean? If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Get out that room, 100%.
Yeah. And I think making that transition can be scary, and you need to find yourself in a position where you know what you're moving into more than anything. And if it doesn't work, try again. And if it doesn't work, try again.
There is something out there for you.
Yeah.
It's sort of mantra there. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't change that journey for a long time. I was supposed to be a police officer. Fuck, man. Like, yeah. I literally had I was speaking to this police officer in Limitless just earlier. I was a month away from starting. I was a month away from starting.
Mm-hmm.
I got a phone call saying, "Oh yeah, you still ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah. Anything changed?" "No, nothing's changed." Like, "Yeah, you actually got speeding points, and you're no longer an eligible applicant because you didn't tell us." I got speeding points going to see my dad in hospital.
Yes.
And and they were like, "Yeah, you're no longer an eligible applicant." A month away from starting.
You know,
Thank God.
I probably told you this as well, but like, did I tell you I was due to start with the police in Dunry?
No, you didn't actually.
Mate, I was all lined up to go down for armed police up at Dunry. I was like, maybe a week.
Is that Nuke Cops?
Yeah. Armed police. I want to be a fucking dog handler, funnily enough, as well.
Yeah.
Literally the week before I'm due to go down to my training, medical all passed. They phoned me and they're like, "Yeah, your security clearance hasn't been thingied." And I was like, "What?" But everybody knows everybody up there, right? So the thing that happened was that I had a heart condition years ago that got sorted that I actually found out at the paratrooper reserves, funnily enough. So we're linking back in there. And they were like, "Yeah, you're just not getting in." The heart issue had been fixed. But I say the same thing. Thank God, because when that didn't come through, I moved to Stirling, got a job at Pure Gym, and here we are. So it's fucking to be, man. Like,
yeah. Honestly, it's a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
thank God it didn't go through.
Yeah, like imagine where we'd be now if we fucking went down that route.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see, it's a bit of a shit show over there right now with poor guys that are working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank God it's not the case.
One more question. We've pretty much touched on this already, but just if you do want to add anything in, Mr. Lance, mental fortitude for such an extreme cut.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think fuck your mental fortitude. Find a support network that's there to support you. Make sure that your coach knows what he's doing, and remind yourself why you're doing it. That would be my big three.
Yeah. I think, like, obviously, if I was to weigh in on that, you do it or you don't. Why are you doing it? What do you want out of it? What does it cost you if you don't get it? What does it cost you if you don't do it? It's just aligning your actions with your goal, making sure that you have a strong enough connection with your goal and your why. And if you want to do something, you will do it. And if you find yourself not doing it, then, like he said, you're missing one of those things, or the goal's not as important to you as what you thought it was.
I think I've got one question on my side, which is best meals for gaining weight. So I'd say what we touched on earlier is like things that digest well are always going to be a good play, no matter who you are, and you can pad those things out with, like, for example, if you're having oats, you can pad that out with peanut butter. All of a sudden, you're increasing the calorie count there. Things like fruit juice are really good for excess calories that don't need to be there. Even just having full fat things in full fat, he fucking hates it. Even having full fat things in general, your full fat Coca-Cola with all the fat in it.
There's so much fat in it.
So much fat. No, your full sugar drinks are obviously a lot higher calorie than you're not.
Yeah.
Good little ways to kind of cheat the system and get extra calories in where you're not really noticing them.
Yeah. For me, like, my appetite goes shit. So, like, for example, James says add peanut butter. I would swap from oats to cream of rice. And when I can no longer eat cream of rice, I would drink it. Fruit juice is a winner. Dextrin, Lucozade. Like I think about it like this: like pick foods that you can eat a large consumption of that doesn't fill you up. So I would opt for pasta with potatoes.
Mm.
I like cold foods because cooked foods I struggle. Once it's too hot and there's too much of it, I struggle with that. So yeah, just find foods that you can consume lots of that don't fill you up too much, that you're getting a decent nutritional value back from. Yeah. James,
Cool.
I think we're in a good spot to wrap up there. I appreciate your time as always. Where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram at Valknut PT, well, underscore PT. That is me. That rhymes. Or you can find me at my house. If you just knock the door, I'll be fine. Or Limitless Fitness Sterling. I've just made the transition over.
We'll cut that out.
For the time being, I'll still be dedicated for another 2 months. Or find me on Google.
Yeah. You missed my wee thing there, didn't you?
What did it? What happened?
I was like, we'll cut that bit out. Nah, it's great. No, James is a great guy, so he's got a lot to offer. Coach, trainer, friend, anything. He's always happy to speak about. So yeah, go and follow him if you don't already. We'll wrap it up there. I appreciate your guys' time as always. Any questions, any shout out tags, mention us both. We're both here for it. And we'll catch up again soon, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
Now I need to stop recording.